Out with a bang. Coach Minzy. Best round here. Remember that.
Welcome back to the Coach's Desk, my people. Thank you very much for tuning in. Really appreciate you being here. So we should be having, as you can see in the title of this video, the ISSA president. Yes, man, he'll be joining us to, clarify a few of the matters that, we as fans want to hear. Definitely. Um, and to give us some insight on the reason this rule was actually created. So welcome back to another stream. As promised, um we we would have said to you that we will be having Sir Wellington on to give us a little insight on the, what can I say, method behind the madness, so to speak, of creating this sort of restriction on overseas based athletes. Yeah, man, a lot of outcry in this one. Many people believe that it doesn't make sense. Many people believe that, I mean, this rule should be taken off the books. The quota might stay, but the rule of the limitation on the foreign players or adding them to the quota system. You understand? Big up Fresh in the building. Fresh in the building. Yeah, man. Big up to all the persons that are on. Those who are actually uh watching, but you aren't able to comment at this time. Let us see where this conversation will go tonight. How's everybody doing? How has your day been? Hope it has gone well so far. Well, you are actually here, so I mean, it's enough to give thanks, right? You're here, but yeah, man, we're here, people, and we're hoping that Mr. Prezi will join us. Yes, big up yourself here, Spot. Good to see you. But people, I want you to hear what some persons are saying in regards to the whole quota system. Listen up to this one.
Tuned for the responses.
Yes, I do. If we should take into consideration the fact that not all our local schools have the ability to bring in athletes, we want to make the playing field even. So limiting the number of athletes brought from overseas would probably stimulate the development of our local young athletes.
I feel like as Jamaicans, we might want to gatekeep champs or other championships, but I really don't feel like having international athletes would really cause any limitation to us. And also with champs is like the largest junior championships like worldwide. So I feel like it's good because the international athletes get to come here, they develop themselves, and they get to take that brand with them to say, I developed myself here in Jamaica. This is where I got full competition.
No, because if I want to send my child to Jamaica to develop the track and field skills on the highest level, why would I not send them here? We have the greatest schools, competition wise, and we develop best athletes.
I agree to some extent because we need to have foreigners coming in so that remember, we are brand Jamaica. As long as it does not get in the way of our local athletes having access to scholarships overseas. But I do believe that Jamaica is really a big brand in track and field, and the more exposure we have for other people coming in, that can earn us a lot of foreign exchange.
Yeah, I agree 100% with them. I feel like champs should be keep local in terms of focus on the Jamaican athletes and the future. Nothing wrong if you give them a opportunity to get betterment elsewhere, but I mean, it should certainly be limited.
Well, folk,
So, what do you think about that? What you think about that, people? You agree with some of the persons that were spoken to? Do you think because when it talk about the level playing field, I mean, I heard on another program and I must say it here. The playing field is already not level because some schools already have more resources than other schools. So and those machinery are what help champs and the schools in general to do what they do. So if we're talking about the whole thing of level playing field, the playing field is not level in the case of resources, and the resources are what drive the athletes to do better. You understand? The schools with the most resources normally take top honors. So I don't know if I agree with that statement of the playing field is not level when these athletes come in. And when you look at it, is the number that great or is it just a drop in the bucket for us? Yeah, that's what I really want to know. If it's just a drop in the bucket or if it's a case where the situation is what it is and it was already voted on from what I've heard, what the president alluded to in the voice note that we played yesterday, that the decision was already made from January. So I later learned that a voting took place and it was the larger number voted for the quota system. So in itself, I mean, persons realize and recognize that this is not what they want, or the principals from the different schools indicate that this is not what they want. The influx of overseas athletes coming into the system. I mean, I asked the question, is it a situation where the brand is being affected by this influx. That's all I want to know, you know. That's all I want to know. If this is actually causing Champ's brand to be affected in a way that the main organizers believe that it shouldn't. But we heard Track Diamond last evening elaborating on the various things that she believes, especially the fact that the Caribbean athletes should not be restricted. But no one is restricting anyone. A matter of fact, all the international athletes that are already in the system, they won't be placed under any quota scrutiny. They will already be in the system, so they are good to stay, good to go. This will now affect, because it will come in effect in September, so therefore it will affect new people that might want to come into the system. So if you're thinking about going to the United States, if you think about going to UK, if you're thinking about dabbling into Europe for top athletes, then you can get them. However, they will be a part of your quota that you already have for this year. Did I say that correctly? They will form a part of the quota, yes, that you already have. You know what I mean? So if you have transfer athletes already in your quota system, if you go for more, then it will increase your quota pool. But by any chance, 1 or 2 athletes, or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 won't be able to compete. And people talking about competing at the development meet, if I come to Jamaica wanting to compete at champs, I don't want to go to no D meet as an alternate. Nah. So these people want to participate at champs. But I'm eager to hear what Mr. President has to say. I'm going to give him a few more minutes. I'm going to give him a few more minutes to see if he is going to be able to join us. He's a busy man enough, people. So, I mean, if he's unable to join, then I could very well understand. So we have Track Hero in the comment, Onika Green. Big up yourself. Thanks for tuning in. Lolo in the building. Big up yourself. Fresh God. Capo in the building. Fear Spot. Big up. Who else is here? I think that covers it. You haven't commented, so I don't know if you're on, but big up yourself. It's just that Jamaicans at top schools suffer because other athletes from Caribbean athletes run at champs over Jamaicans. Really? Good night, coach. It is not an influx. The success of our international athletes has made Jamaica a lucrative market for other athletes. We have always had other Caribbean athletes. Yeah, man, I know that. If you are Jamaican and choose to come back home and run at champs, you are safe, right? If you are Jamaican, then if you are Jamaican, you are Jamaican. I could definitely think that is so. I don't think if you are Jamaican, and you go overseas to come back, then you won't be placed in a quota system because you're already a Jamaican. You wouldn't be considered one of those guys who fall under the purview of that system. That's basically how I look at it. You understand? So, giving the president about 4 more minutes. All right, let me see if anybody else is saying anything. Yeah, so all right, my people. Just waiting to see if Sir Wellington is gonna be coming on. Not sure if he's having any challenge, but Formula, big up yourself. Another chat in Formula. this this is the track on the field group. Wrong outburst, Formula. Wrong place, wrong time. Were there more than normal number of non-Jamaican athletes running at champs, or that they have become better because they have been in the system longer? Big up yourself, Neo Sovereign. What's up? Sir Wellington, Ghana. No man, no man. And that didn't tell me. So I go round him up there. Give me a second. All right. So people, we just contacted Mr. Wellington. He's still in a meeting. So we still have a little time to move around and see what will be happening until he comes. Him not gonna embed Lulu. Me just talk to him, man. Me just talk to him. Fabulous sport. Yeah, man, a triple treat every forward formula and make the people them know. Just jog around the neighborhood, track myself. Really? Neo, that must nice in the evening, and a virgin. Shano Star. That was nice. In the cool evening. All right, so Errol McIntyre, ISSA want the school to develop talents instead of go out and buy talents. That's why if you're 16, it's okay. But if you're 17 and over, it 2 per class. So and U16 will come up through the system. True. Yeah, you're right, Errol. And like we were saying last evening with Fabian and others, that most times people get these athletes. One of the sole reason is to win champs. It's not about development. So you can understand the rule. But for me, I don't really want to speculate. I really want to hear from Sir Wellington. You understand? And I hope you'll get out of that meeting as quickly as possible so that we can, have a conversation, and I ask him some of the questions that I want to ask. Neo, what are your thoughts on this whole quota system, Neo? Do you think it's the right way to go? Is it leveling the competitiveness of champs? Because the playing field in terms of leveling, and I don't think that. Lulu, big up yourself, MPEC. I agree with the quota on out of the country kids for the sports. Why, Lulu? Lulu, you can call in a little voice be heard, I saw you know near live a foreign. Jogging in Jamaica them time of night and now go work. The boss the neighborhood chat. Them things not there iron man. I true formula. Because even if you go for emancipation, they're far, and I think they have changed. Well, it's not emancipation. You'll probably be a little distance from your house or your apartment, or and if you live across from the stadium, you can't go over the stadium right now. None of them hours. Nah, nada. So, ISSA gone too far now? MPEC, explain. The player sitting out a year should be scrapped. Why? So foreign athletes can naturalize and compete for the black, green, and gold giants. Of course that can happen, but explain that. Remember, ISSA is not running a professional competition; it's an amateur competition. So it's not a professional competition. So when you're coming up with your answers, think of it as being an amateur competition. Errol is saying it's 2 per class if everyone used their quotas. For example, all the schools at champs this year, that's almost 1,600 overseas students. But that's the thing, Errol. There are not so many. The report said that 100 of those athletes were foreigners. If you spread it across, he said 20 schools. So St. Diego might have one, Ohm would have 2, Edwin have 1, and it didn't say boy or girl. So KC might have a few, JC might have a few, Calabar, St. George's, Manchester. That's probably how it is set up over the 20 schools. So it could be boys and girls. I don't think, for me, the numbers are dropping the bucket. Because you probably have 3,000 athletes competing at champs. Let me see if I can do maths. These are a few schools that have borders. If they are in high school, why put a limit? Who leaves their family for a year just to win champs? True. That's a valid point there, Onika. That's a valid point. But let me do some calculation. I don't remember off my head. So 46. About 90 school, 46 events. I hold it, but me can't do much right now. Me hear a formula. So I agree with it as well. We have enough competition on a high quality in track locally. The foreigner them will take a local spot. But that's the thing in a formula. People go outside of Jamaica because of the limitations within. There has been a limitation on inter transfer where an athlete have to sit out a year. So because of that, and there's a quota on that, they go outside to fill some of the gap. Because again, it's about winning champs. If I live in Kingston and got a job in Mobay, my child have to sit out a year if I got him in Cornwall. I guess they should put extenuating circumstance, but you know, say people are gonna make cases for them circumstances. There. Oh no, Jamaica full of crap already, man. KCFC, aka Caribbean FC, get knocked. It now affect who them have already. It's spreading. Titchfield had Guyanese. Yes, Dintil had and a lot of Guyanese are coming to Jamaica, you know. A lot of Guyanese. Dintil had some. St. Jago had some a year ago. I think they had a few playing football. Yeah. The Guyanese, they love Jamaica. I wonder why. And Errol is saying Titchfield. There are no limits if they are 16. Right. So if you're under 16, there's no limit. So formula. If the child is under 16, we can take in 10,000 foreigners. And that child would not be a part of the quota system once they're under 16. Neo is saying, Coach, I am of two minds. I want the level playing field and preserve Jamaica's competitive edge, but I want us to be the track and field world capital such that we eventually get broadcast rights for champs. How is the playing field not level, Neo, when the overseas students come? 3.3% of the entire ISSA schools are non-Jamaicans. Hey, Onika, yeah, Mats now. Onika, tell us how many students on average participate at champs. How many schools? And you know, some people are carrying on average 60 odd students. DV group saying all gonna happen is the school's gonna recruit athletes under 15 years. Simple. If memory serve me right, Guyana top striker is Guyanese. Can't remember his name. Guyana top striker is Guyanese. Of course, if I'm Guyanese. Formula way else. 3.3, that's not correct. Shelly Belly. Formula, don't be narrow-minded. If the children is better than us at 800, it will help the quality to go up. Exactly. That is also a thing too. Oh, come in know what you I don't know what you were saying in the formula. You talk gibberish. I'm a little among high athletes like Casey, JC, and Calabar, but not Wolmers. But again, you know, is who are, I believe persons might be interested and persons might not be interested. Because if you have a school like Dintil and Titchfield bringing in player athletes, whether football or track and field. I mean, if Wolmers put their hat in the ring with the tradition that Wolmers have Neo, of course, Woolmers could actually attract more than a dental and a Titchfield. So I don't think it is uneven there. KC may use their King's Council to fight this. Where's the Errol? KC will use their KC to fight this. Yo, KC will use their KC to fight this. Interesting. Very, very, very interesting. I mean, nobody will fight this. Like somebody alluded to, these people will just bring in athletes that are 15 years and they'll spend a longer time with the school. What I'm saying though, and this is for me. Oh, is all right. Like MPEC, I believe if quality comes in, it will enhance the sport and it will enhance the competition. Meaning, the Jamaicans will work hard to say, yo, the Guyanese now come here and beat me. So all who used to goofy around in training, knowing that the Trinidad Natasha Fox is in the four hurdles, you can't waste a lot of time there. So you go to training and you put in a lot of work. But if Natasha is not there, then Onika will just relax because she have this luck. You understand? So for me, it's not a case where it is degrading, but actually enhancing the quality of the meat. If it's a quota system where Jamaicans are a part of it, just go out there and do whatever you're doing and make your spot. So if the overseas athletes come and you are monkeying around in training and they are putting in the work, you can't ball, you have yourself to blame. You understand? Let me get back in the comment section. Guyanese athletes are generally not sprinters, but longer distance. So they would be attracted to programs that serve that purpose. Titchfield, Dintil, Edwin, Casey, JC. All right. When the Caribbean boys come, they normally play cricket, track and field, and football. 3,000 athletes are champs, about 100 are non-Jamaicans. Yeah, that's why I said that was a drop in the bucket, Cool. What is the student-teacher ratio guidance from the Board of Education? As long as none of the Jamaican-born kids don't get pushed out of the system. I don't know, Is this rule ISSA infringing on the rights of CARICOM citizens? You know that our friend Trap Diamond asked that question last evening, DV group, but I don't think so because they're not stopping you from coming. They have a competition that is governed by rules, and the rules said that you have to be a part of their quota system. So you can play, you can compete, but you have to beat up the Jamaicans and take their spot. Yeah, almost we have decided that it's not right to import athletes at the expense of who study hard for the privilege of coming to Walmart. We take the lump of coal and make occasional diamonds. All right, Neo. That is kind of a thin line between being subliminals again. subliminal against the other schools. But Travis, big up yourself. We're there, I know. No, nope. Good night, everyone. I myself is a foreign track athlete from the Caribbean, and I'm currently attending a high school in Jamaica. No, nope. Which high school are you attending? You need to tell us it up. Is this rule infringing on the rights? Well, we want to ask the DV. We want to ask Mr. President that, but he's currently in a meeting. He gave me a time. The time is winding down, so I'll soon try him back to see if he's available. MG, Wagwan. Big up yourself. Big up yourself, MG. Back at home, our track and field program isn't really developed compared to countries like Trinidad, Jamaica, etc. Which countries that are no nopes? Are you talking Guyana? Because a lot of Guyanese seem to be on the island. After competing in Jamaica last year at Carifta, I was really disappointed due to my performance and seeing how the Jamaican athletes dominated the games like they always do really gave me hope. As a 16-year-old about to graduate high school with just good grades and no scholarship was just sad. Mm. If any of the students has a Jamaican parent, it doesn't affect you. My only option was to stay home, work and train, or further my studies, and continue to work towards bettering myself to be a great athlete one day. Mm. Formula Sports. I did hear on various streams that USA would never pick a USL baller. USA and Mexico playing now. A USL player by the name of Joshua Wendar is in the squad. I was able to get into one of the top schools in Jamaica in September, and I was so grateful for that opportunity because I know that so much athletes wish they had that opportunity. Woolmer's girls recruit, not the boys, though. Immaculate doesn't recruit, but the girls normally switch allegiance from Jamaica to other Caribbean countries. Well, yeah, say Immaculate no recruit. Man, tap your foolishness. My parents and I made so much sacrifice just to be here, just so that I can develop myself and reach my goal. And how is that going? No, nope. Unfortunately, I got injured before this track season. I had to sit out the entire season. Not being able to compete at track meets just was so emotional for me. Back at home, we don't have these development meets nor the competition to push us to our limits. Part of me didn't want to go champs just to watch, but when I went, it just motivated me to work harder for next season. Coach, you guess forward already. Me always late. No, the person not forward it. The president not forward it. I just spoke to him. He's in a meeting, but he said give him a few more minutes. I am still facing those injuries, and my parents just want the best for me. And not being able to compete and make them proud is just frustrating and emotional. Go get a welcome. Would we have been having this conversation if American kids start transferring to attending schools in Jamaica? I don't know. No, with this, it's just too much to bear. Really unfair if you ask me. As a former Woolmerian who was affiliated with the track team, please let me know. Anna Charles from Woolmers, she ran at Champs, and Frederick is at Woolmers but did not run. In a friendly formula. Shauna helps Johnny Hill Smith, Shelley and Fraser Price, Nicole Mitchell, Natrice East. Please let me know. Go get the no American kids now transfer to Jamaica. This is about Caribbean kids. But Africans, The Formula Sport. Some game not sure. I think it's a friendly. Track EO, where they recruited. Hmm. All right. Um. So it's not only about the Caribbean still, Travis, because you have other countries. I can remember there was a Colombian at the school that I coach. Yes, there was a Colombian. Um, there are Africans coming into some of the schools. So, I mean, it's not only Caribbean athletes that come into the system. You understand? So, I mean, as somebody said, this thing is swelling, because it goes all the way to Titchfield. So people aren't joking, and it is about who has the connection, because some of these folks have friends in these small islands who will call them up and say, "What, this athlete is very good, and we wish that you can take this athlete and help them become better athletes per se." So I think that's how the situation possibly grow. You understand? So big news also coming out in the in sports arena. Three persons have been arrested because of allegedly defrauding the entity $222 million. So that is also something that has to do with sports. Yep. Mm. Dwight, big up yourself. Welcome. It is not only English Caribbean athletes, it is Cubans, Asians, Colombians, Bajans, Lucians, to name a few. Yeah. I tell people, say we did have Colombians here, man. I Renteria. I can't forget that name. So, what somebody is asking Dwight if this is infringing on the whole Caribbean athletes' right because of CARICOM for them to move about, or is it a case where movement is not stopped, but they aren't able to compete in competitions or different competitions that are put on by different entities because of varied rules? And I think everybody wants to come to Jamaica to be a part of the champs euphoria, the very atmosphere in the stands. I mean, I can remember even Brianna Williams, she came here just to attend champs, to see the vibes that the Jamaicans bring when it comes on to competing at champs. A lot of people from all over the world that have no ties with Jamaica. None. They just come to watch for the experience. But these students who perform as athletes, sometimes they themselves might approach their coach asking if they could go to a particular high school, because they might go to Carifta and they develop friendships and so forth. And that is a situation where they want to be a part of the Jamaican system. So I mean, I want though the athletes in the Caribbean don't believe that you can't come. There are some things that you have to adhere to though. If you're over 16, you can compete, but that is depending on how well the school is going to utilize you as part of a quota system that is already established. If you don't want to be a part of the system, just hope that you're recruited before you're 16. You understand? So these are the standards that the governing body would have set. In my opinion, right now, if I'm a track coach, I am getting my incorporation, bylaws, and rules to include a youth track club. Explain that, Dwight. Time for a national club championship and time for intercol to expand. Okay, I get what you're saying. Coach, I don't think it's a violation as it's amateur level. There's no work or travel restriction. It's exactly. That's what I've been saying from last night, Neo. That's what I've been saying from last night because it's amateur and they're always able to travel, but coming to be a part of the competition, you have to adhere by the rules. Simple. The rule in CARICOM cannot supersede ISSA. Cannot be superseded. ISSA may have some lawsuits on their hand. Really? Wow. Neo, what you said about that? What you said about that, Neo? What Winston Berger is saying? Post-secondary education can be a serious revenue-making business. Dwight, Bajans and Notions speak English. ISSA should be having discussions about how we can get these schools a proper meal plan and better gyms at least. Regulations is not helping. The more different nationalities, the better for the growth. This is an opportunity for schools to expand and to improve their facilities. Interesting. All right, so we're getting closer to the time that I'll try and call back the president. You understand? Yeah, man. No sticking and staying just because you want to hear, Definitely, I want to hear some of these questions being answered. Why don't ISSA have a broadcasting rights deal with NBC to carry champs or other Jamaican meets? The more foreigner we attract, the greater the audience internationally that we can leverage. I don't know. I think each time Television Jamaica latch on to it with their one spot media, I believe that goes far and beyond as well. So MPEC says it's a violation. They have a right to study. Once they are a legitimate member of the cohort, they should have equal rights. And that's why I asked the question last night, if participating in ISSA sports is a privilege or a right. I asked that question last night and it didn't go down well with some people. You understand? But are those NBCs and outside broadcasters really interested in champs that way, Dwight? That's the thing, We need a bigger one, yes? That comment by Berger fly over my head, coach. All right, Council, I hear you. I know for a fact that ISSA turned down a nice US dollar six-figure deal to broadcast developmental meets. Really? It's a privilege, right? So if our Caribbean neighbors come in near and they are not barred from attending one of those traditional high schools, but they are not allowed to participate in any sporting activity. Is that a breach of their CARICOM right? Because I think that's what many people are saying, and I don't see it like that. Yes, schoolboy running 9-9, but then probably say it's an anomaly. So I don't know. Uh, if it is true, Neo, if it is true, so waiting on Mr. Prezi. So Neo, why one student should have more privilege than another? That would be discrimination, in my opinion. Or one student have more privilege. The ironic thing is that some of the coaches are hoping their athletes get NCAA scholarships in the USA. Imagine the outcry from Jamaicans if the NCAA Division One schools put a limit on international. Of course, there's a limit on international students. Dwight, the ones that are scholarship students, of course. I think there's a limit. There's a limit on international students, isn't that so? As far as I know. In the US, NCAA athletes have equal rights and privilege regardless. No, 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 MPEC. No, 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 no. That's not true. MPEC, that is not true. That is not true, MPEC. No equal rights. What does ISSA stands for? It's the body that governs intersecondary schools. But I cannot see how limiting less than 4% of the sports body helps the school to generate revenue. You sure there's a limit on international student athletes on a track and field? Yeah, I think someone you can't recruit international student than that in a certain amount, of course. If that were the case, now a whole lot of Jamaicans are going a D1 school, man. Cause they put a cap on it. So some go to the the D2, do whatever they need to do and then transfer. Because they would have been in the system already. Right, Onika. Just explain that. So, what some students do, they take the route of going to a D school or a junior college, they call it, right? After they spend 2 years there, they try to matriculate so that they go to the D1 school, which is the divisional one, the top tier universities. You understand? Many private institutions and schools can often discriminate with it being a breach of constitutional treaty rights, but the government cannot do the same. That would be a constitutional breach. It's is that because of academics? That's unfair. Imagine if the embassy puts a limit on how many visas they can issue. A team has to choose between a coach and a reserve for. I believe that also have limits too. There are no caps in NCAA scholarships. What? Anthony Wilson is saying otherwise? That's not what I heard. All right, people, it doesn't look like we're gonna be getting Mr. President, Might have to reschedule this. Might have to reschedule this. Because it's after 10 now. Don't like to call people so late. You understand? So yeah, people, we're gonna be getting the president on no. Hold on, let me see if all right. So people, we have president of the ISSA, Keith Wellington online. He will be shortly in a quick time about the whole limit on foreign athletes in the ISSA run association. Sir Wellington, welcome to the show.
Well, thanks very much. Good evening and thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, it's I really appreciate you taking the time out to be here to clarify some of these issues. Let me begin, Sir Wellington, by asking you to just give us a well, we heard that all of this information was ratified in January.
Right.
Can you explain that in a nutshell?
Explain what the ratification
The
process.
ratification of the limits on foreign students to
Right. So
participate in the competitions.
right. So at our last meeting of principals in January, well, prior to that meeting in January, our membership asked the executive to look at the whole matter of the number of student athletes who were turning up in Jamaica from other countries to represent their member schools. The members felt that it was the numbers had started to grow disproportionate to what is the norm in terms of natural immigration into Jamaica. And therefore they felt that we needed to revisit our current system and come back to them with a recommendation. So between September and December, the executive looked at the concerns raised by its members and went back to them in January with a proposal that was reviewed by the general membership and modified to suit what they believe was the most appropriate action. And at the end of it, the principals voted that effective September 2023, children of foreign nationals coming to Jamaica after the age of 16 to attend high school will be allowed as per usual once they meet the academic criteria, but that there should be no more than 2 of such persons over the age of 16 representing teams that have 7 or less members at the court games, so basketball, netball, and track and field 2 per class, 3 for those sports that have 11 per team. So that's football, cricket, hockey, right? So the quota, and that these persons would be counted as a part of the same quota that was previously instituted for students transferring between member schools. So essentially what all we have done is to shift to, well, basically to say that the quota system that was already in place will now include foreign nationals over the age of 16.
Okay, so that has been clarified. So we know why the decision was made, because persons were feeling like the numbers of foreign nationals coming in was too great. All right, quickly. Is it as a result of it affecting Champs brand or brand Champs?
Well, first
Why?
of all, remember this rule is not a Champs rule, it's a competitions rule. So it is applied across all competitions run by ISSA. And ISSA runs about 27 different competitions. So it is not a Champs rule. So it will apply to Champs, but it is not a rule that has come about because of Champs or because of any one sport. Champs and football so happen to be the sports where the numbers show the deepest or the highest level of increase over the recent past.
Right, and that's why I made mention of that, because we know that most, if not, well, probably 90% of these international students really represent at Champs, because the numbers that we got was 100 for over 20 schools.
Yeah.
So hence the reason I asked if it is actually affecting the brand Champs itself, or is it affecting the brand ISSA then, of how the governance of ISSA goes? Hence the reason this rule it comes into place.
All right. So in terms of when you speak of brand, you speak of recognition of a particular item.
Right.
So I don't think it has had a negative effect on Champs as a brand or on ISSA as a brand. But remember that ISSA is made up of member schools, and therefore what we would have responded to was the concern as it relates to member schools and the playing field, the levelness of the playing field that we ask our schools to compete at. It is felt that by allowing mass introduction of new students
Mm-hmm.
at that particular level, we would be allowing for the skewing of our competition. So, for example, in the schoolboy football season, we note that one school had a squad with more than 10 players, 10 more than 10 foreign-based players,
Mm-hmm.
which is by the way more than what is allowed in the National Premier League, which is a professional league.
Uh-huh.
Uh,
I hear you, Sir President. But I mean, why would you have cut it off at the age of 16? You can clarify that for the viewers.
all right, so for those who are involved in education, they would recognize that secondary education, for the most part, not just in Jamaica, but worldwide, secondary education ends at around 16, 17. So once a child gets to 17, 18, 19, really and truly, they should be thinking about tertiary education.
Mm-hmm.
So even in Jamaica, where we have our kids going up to age 19 in high school, for the most part, these kids are expected to be doing sixth form work, which we recognize as a sort of quasi tertiary education. So we are saying that if a child is coming into Jamaica to enter into our high schools for the first time at age 17 or 18, really and truly that is not a high school child. And as well, we are saying that you are not really, it is not true to say that you are bringing in a 17 or 18-year-old for developmental purposes. And that is why we have allowed the students to come in at 13, 14, 15 without any quota being applied to them.
Okay.
Once you start to get to 17, 18, and 19 to bring in these students, we believe that it is because you are bringing in people to win competition and not necessarily to help them to develop.
Right. That same sentiments was shared because we had a show last evening and that same sentiment was shared. But in terms of the voting, Sir President, what was the ratio like in terms of for and against?
First of all, I would not be able to recall, but suffice to say it's an organizational decision where the majority of principals would have voted for this to take place. Whether it was a one majority or a unanimous vote, and I think it was unanimous if I recall. I don't want to lie, but I think it was a unanimous vote.
All right. So what I heard initially when you made mention of the reason why the decision was made in terms of what the members were saying. But was there any empirical data that was gathered before making that decision, or you used it to come about altering that decision?
No, we would have had empirical data especially from the last term between September and December while we were doing the deliberation. We would also have had empirical data, especially over the last 2 years. I am sure that we did not have a complete in terms of being able to account for every single student. But yes, there was some level of empirical data.
All right, Sir President, another thing. In terms of the attractiveness of champs, I'm using champs, right? As the marquee event of the ISSA run sports.
Right.
Being that champs is widely spread across the globe. Because of that, there would be a lot of persons who are interested in coming to the island to train, to be a part of a winning team. If you say that some recruit to win, which definitely I think that is the main thing. Do you think that this decision now will disappoint some of these students who would have set their sights on coming in September to represent some of these schools that they have been eyeing for probably years?
All right, so please bear in mind that we have not barred persons from coming. So we expect that there will still be a few persons coming. And if we think about it, a school could still end up with a single gender school could still end up with 6. Well, they could end up with a lot more than 6 because there are no restrictions on those who are under 16. So I could 15-year-olds and bring in two 17-year-olds. So I don't necessarily think that we have created a situation where persons are going to be utterly disappointed.
Mm-hmm.
What may happen is that we may find that the decision to come to Jamaica to attend school may have to be made a little bit earlier to allow for them to not fall within the quota. But I don't necessarily believe that this rule is going to be very prohibitive in terms of stopping people from coming. It is going to prohibit the persons from coming in immediately and making a large impact because of their experience and so on. So we still expect and we still expect that we're going to see persons coming in at age 14, 15 and so on. And what we expect now is that these coaches will actually get to contribute to the development of these kids rather than counting how many points they will be getting when these persons come at 17 or 18.
Okay. So in the future there will not be any changing of the age that these students come in, because many times.
All right, so hold on. I am not sure that that's a question you can ask anybody on the earth that they can choose to answer. And I can't tell you what the future holds.
I know that.
We will respond to the environment from time to time.
Yeah, man, I know that what is done. I was just being a little bit cheeky with that question. But I mean, in terms of modification, Sir President, I could it be there's a case of some reclassification of this rule in the future, because to add it to the ongoing quota that is there, is it making the playing field level, so to speak? Because if you're looking at those, you said that they are outsiders, 16, 17 should have been school leavers, right? Going to colleges or university. Shouldn't that age group get a little bit more leverage then? In terms of probably adding another 2 to the quota, or just remove it from a part of the inter-transfer quota?
All right, so part of the concern that we have, and you speak about the future, maybe when things settle down, we will review again and make adjustments. But part of the evil that we are trying to avoid is the situation where there are youngsters within programs who have established themselves as proven match winners or proven points getters, and these persons start to move around to the highest bidder. That is what we're trying to avoid, right? And that is why, as I said before, for the foreign nationals, we have said that at the younger age, if the parents are willing to take them or to send them, and you are willing to contribute to their development, then they are your kids. We are not going to put a quota on them.
All right. I hear you. Now, with this quota restriction, I know that they are not being barred from coming to the schools, coming to the island. But do you think this is going to be a deterrent?
By the way, yes. We are not barring them, but immigration may bar them. Because remember, no, this is not just about students turning up and going to school. We also have immigration policies that the government will apply from the first thing that we are with people, not these countries outside of Jamaica, just allow people to turn up and go to school in their countries.
Yeah, man, I know, but
there are some border restrictions.
Yeah, man, but that wasn't the point I'm making. The point I'm making, the restriction is coming through a quota system. I'm saying, not put a deterrent on persons want to enter the island to whatever the restriction is going to be at the borders. I acknowledge that. But wouldn't this be a turn off for some people who want to make it to Jamaica to be trained by the top coaches, knowing that there might be meeting up on some quota system that they might not be able to run or compete?
Right. So what we would expect is that there's greater due diligence done by both the, if you want a better term, for both the sending as well as both as the school who is receiving them. There must be some due diligence to say that I am going to be able to accommodate only one person, or I can take two persons based on my quota, or what have you. Expect that to be done. But also, as we continue to modify what we're doing, we are looking to have in place a formal structure where persons from overseas who want to come to Jamaica to attend school and to participate in our function, they can apply through a mechanism set up by ISSA and possibly be placed in various schools, so we can have a greater spread of these students across the different schools and not necessarily have it being a situation where there are one or two schools who are able to have whoever they want.
I hear you on that as well, but in terms of persons who want to come to, let me call a few names. The K's and the C's and the J's and the C's. I mean, I want to attend St. Jago High School, but because of the restriction that you're putting in place, will allow me to go to another high school, and which I don't want to go. So that in itself could be another turn off.
Yeah, it could be because you probably won't get the choice, but that is the way life is. You probably won't be able to get your first choice or the choice that you really want to make unless you're good enough to be one of the two.
One of the two, right?
That the school can accommodate.
So when they utilize that system, will they be able to transfer and still they will still fall under the quota system, whether they transfer to that school, yes or no, that they really wanted to go?
If they'll be able to?
If they transfer to the school that they really want to go after coming on the island, will they still be under the quota system?
Yes, man. They couldn't. The basic function of the quota rule, is to stop people from moving up and down all over the place.
Right.
So if they came to school A and did not represent school A, right? They did not represent school A and go to school B, then they would be part of the quota system. Well, if they did not represent school A, depends on how long they stayed at school. Remember, we're talking about people who are under the 16, 17.
Yes.
So if they come and spend a year, they would probably, depending on how old they came, they would probably either be not eligible based on age, or if they came and did not go to sixth form, then you have to check on the eligibility based on subjects. But once they are a foreign national and they are registering for the first time in the ISSA competition, it doesn't matter how many other schools they went to before, and they are going to be regarded as a part of the school's quota.
Somebody is saying in the comment section, asking the question, if ISSA plays them, can they compete?
If based on the mechanism that
yes.
Yes.
So they wouldn't be under any restriction?
No. If it is, remember, first of all, we haven't worked out the entire framework. But
okay.
In terms of where we're going, because we don't want to stop foreign nationals from coming to Jamaica. That's not the intent of the rule.
Right.
The intent of the rule is to moderate and to ensure that the influx of persons is not skewing our competition and the result of our competition, because we want to have fair competition. So we are saying that one of the ways that we are looking to go forward is to set up it's almost like an exchange program, maybe, right? Where persons can say, because a lot of the other thing too is that many of these persons who come to Jamaica don't come because that school recruited them. Many of them come because they have identified Jamaica as providing an opportunity, or having the chance to provide an opportunity for them to do well.
Yes.
And they will reach out. It has happened with me already. I went to university with somebody in at least two different countries already, Bahamas and Barbados. And, they reach out to me to say, hey, I have some students who I want to come to Jamaica to participate, to go to school and to play cricket or to do track in the case of the Barbadians. And they ended up at States, right? And as a matter of fact, on one occasion, I had about 7 Barbadians one time coming to States, right? Girls, boys, playing football, not football, playing cricket, doing track. And I did not recruit, or the state people did not recruit any one of those. It's just that there was somebody who I went to university with.
Right.
Who, you understand?
And you know that this happened a lot, though, Sir President, because sometimes other Jamaican coaches are there, or they know somebody who's a coach at a particular school, and that's sometimes how the link goes.
Yes.
And
So
it's opportunity.
We are full of aware of that, and we don't necessarily want to stop that opportunity for especially our Caribbean neighbors. And so that is why I'm saying that going forward, what we want to do is to establish a process where these people will come to a sort of clearinghouse. We would have an established list of schools that are capable of satisfying the needs of these students and contributing to their development. And we will say to them that, all right, this is school A in Hanover, and they are good at this, and this is the course that we know well. We are recommending that you be enrolled in this school. Right, that is the type of thing that we're looking to do.
All right. Since 16 to 17 should be matriculating to colleges or universities, shouldn't the 45% rule be increased then? Since they should be matriculating.
In terms of grades?
Yes.
All right. So not necessarily. First of all, what we have a peculiar situation in Jamaica, right? Where at the end of fifth form, especially now, over the last 2 years, we're at the end of fifth form, the government has said to us that, listen, all our kids at 16, 17, 18 should still be in school, right? And we have created 3 pathways. Those who are college material,
right,
in terms of academics, that's what we want a pathway for those. We want a pathway for those who have not done well up to the end of fifth form. So they have finished their regular secondary schooling, but they have not done well enough to be eligible for any further studies. But we want to start to offer them a program where one they can get further qualification as well as training. So that's another pathway. And then there's a third pathway where we want you to offer an opportunity for these kids who not quite there yet in terms of college readiness, but they have shown some results. Let us see if we can polish them up and get them ready. So our system now, right, is aimed at catering post grade 11, post fifth form to students of all different types. Up to a few years ago, right, what we had in our high school system for post grade 11 was the traditional sixth form where you needed to have been basically been preparing for college. So to say that everybody now should have higher grades, when the truth is as well that the higher you get up, 70% values much more in sixth form than it does in grade 7, in first form. And so to say that if you're the higher up you get, the better grades you should be getting, it's actually the reverse.
Yeah, man. I just asked that question based on the fact that these students, according to you, should be college or university bound. So since that is the case, then I just asked the question. Then why not increase the grade for them? Because if they're going to be matriculating, that 45 is too low.
What are we talking about? The general population are foreigners.
No, man. The part that question had to do with the participation of. Remember, isn't that the rule?
Yeah, man. I understand. So you change.
Right. I segue into that question based on what you mentioned earlier. Another question I want to ask, which many people want to know, Sir President. I think you'd have satisfied the whole limit on the foreign student, but this one I just want to squeeze in a little bit. The sitting out a year criteria. Can there be a change? Because if I guess sometimes the sporting students face a lot of pressure than the regular student, you know. Because if a child transfer from one school to a next to do school challenge, then there's no restriction on that child. But once it is sports,
Look here. I think as somebody who has been a principal for 15 years, has been involved in sports all my life, has been a teacher from 16 plus, has been when I was born to a teacher, so I've never left the classroom basically.
Right.
I think I understand the school system as well as most people.
Right.
We have schools spending $20-30 million on sports. No school spend that on school challenges or any other curricular activity. So sports is a totally different animal. The students who are involved in sports, every single school you go, right, they will tell you they are more readily identified both positively and negatively than any other student. So, and by the way, ISSA only organizes sports. ISSA don't organize quiz or festival and cadets. So to ask us to do what the others are doing is to suggest that we probably should be organizing sports as well.
No, it's not. So, that's not the suggestion.
So the truth is, right? It is unreasonable to say that the sports people should be treated like the other people, or the other people should be treated like the sports people, because they are two totally different things. You don't have students involved in quiz or festival, right, who refuse from going to class, and when the season is done, they don't come back to school. And we don't have that problem with cadets and choir students and quiz students.
We probably have the problem, but it is not that heavy as the sporting students.
No, that is why I started off by telling you how long I
Right.
Because I know for a fact that it is sports students that are treated like prima donnas.
True, and I agree with that.
So it is them that we owe. We have a greater responsibility
to curb them, so to speak.
They are right, because they are the heroes in the community. They are the ones who people want to be friends with and want to. Sometimes
they're wanting to be role models of, so they have to be treated in that particular vein.
So I find it difficult to accept that we are treating them unfairly when we compare them to others.
No, but sometimes, Mr. President, I am in the school system as well, and sometimes it appears that way, man. Not to say ISSA, but some people really, even when they are not in the red, there are some, and I guess it's because of the expectation as well. But they are students as well, so you're gonna expect them to step over the line a little bit here and there now and again. But some people don't believe that.
Guess what? So I have one son, right? And the only thing I can get him to do is sports in terms of co-curricular activity, right? And I have to keep reminding him. That one
big cricketer, right?
No, don't like cricket, none at all. Don't love cricket, none at all. Football and basketball, right? So the point is, though, that students who are involved in sports have a burden to carry, right? But there's also a great investment in them by most of our schools. And most of our schools, well, let me not say most, but many of our schools that do well in sports, right? So the kids that we're talking about, they get a whole lot being invested in them. And therefore, the expectations of them is greater than any other segment of the student population. We also have to recognize that not only are they, listen, in business, right, in almost every business, it is sports people who people try to use as to sell their product and so on. So
so your reputation have to be great.
Right. So I don't believe that our sports students, well, let me be more positive. I believe that our sports students should be our model students. Simple as that. And this is something that I hold true for my students. And if you do sports, I expect more of you than I expect of anybody else, because we invest in you. When I buy a pair of boots, well, my football team each season, I probably have to buy 2-3 pairs of boots for each player. That is $50,000 on one player. You don't spend that sort of money on individual students outside of sports.
Yeah, man, and sports is a very lucrative venture, especially for the schools. They spend a lot in terms of running their sports program for a school year. So I understand what you're saying, sir, President.
And that is why it requires greater monitoring and
Right,
regulation.
But back to the question: why is the rule that they have to sit out a year? I can't wrap my finger around that one.
Again, simple deterrent. Just remember, it is simply to act as a deterrent, so that and now we're talking. Remember, there are different applications of that rule, and we have actually relaxed. We have actually relaxed it over the last year or so, where we are now saying that if you're under 16 again and you did not participate for a particular school and you change schools, you can be allowed to participate right away.
Yeah.
So we over time we have relaxed that rule, and again the genesis of the rules would have been again students moving en masse from
Yeah, man. I know many times these rules are created is because of what the trend that is happening at the time. But when you look at a school that doesn't have sixth form, and the child wants to transfer to a school that has sixth form, I think that's situation is extenuating, so that the child should not be a part of the quota. What say you?
So, all right. So first of all, there are no schools in Jamaica without sixth form. All right. The quality of the sixth form may vary. So, and you may actually move because the subject you want to do at one school
is not at that particular school.
It's not that, right? It's not offered at that one. But again, remember the quota the quota doesn't bar you from moving. It is just that the schools now will have to decide that I can only take 3 of these students or 2 of these students or whatever number the quota that is the quota has been applied to.
Okay.
So it's just a matter of what would be great is that if all 172 schools provided equal opportunities for all, then we probably wouldn't have these problems.
Right. But again, that is where the playing field is not leveling up, because some schools have greater resources than some. So you still will never have a level playing field. You understand? Yeah. And you're quite okay with that. In terms of class 4 girls, when will they be doing the 400 meters?
I can't say that question has been asked before, but I don't think that we are at the point where we can definitively say that it will be introduced at any point or at a point in time.
Yeah, because some of these girls come from primary school and they have been competing in 400 meters, and I have not. When they come to the high school, they are in class 4. They have to wait for class 3, and sometimes the interest is really lost, and that could be on the part of the coaches too. But if the event is there, if it's even putting in a restriction where once you're in class 4 and you're doing the 400 meters or the 800 meters, you just do that one event, not even a relay.
What I think needs to be done though. Remember, champs is a one event for the year. And if persons, we know that a number of our coaches and principals are involved in organizing development meets and regional meets. I think that is where we should start. If we see if it starts at the Western champs and Central champs, Eastern champs, Carpentier champs, then obviously it would then progress to champs. It could then progress to champs. So I would suggest that the way to go about it is to start with it happening at the development meet. Even if you end up not having it at champs, one of the concerns you raise would be addressed because the kids would still be engaged upon entering high school.
Yes, sir, President. But according to how the programs are set, you might do that early season. it might do a 1 or 2 400 for the early season because you don't want to allow your sprinters to constantly be doing
No
400
man, no man,
meters.
no man. I'm saying that is all right. So remember, all of this is a cycle,
Mm-hmm.
So if it is to be done at champs, let us say champs decided that decided that we're going to do it at champs 2024. Then it means that it will have to be done at Western champs and
Right.
Central champs. So I'm saying that these meet organizers.
Oh, so they should infuse it.
Yes.
Right. Okay,
Just
I
like
get what you're
with
saying now.
Western champs. So Western champs, one of the things that we do at Western champs is that we have a full class 4 boys program.
Right. I get what you're
Not
saying.
after that champ. So our youngsters in Western Jamaica don't miss out that year.
Right.
The only thing that they don't get to go to champs. And it is champs is only a part of the process.
Part of the process.
And yes, but we could start there because it is really coaches and schools that run most of these developments.
Yes.
So rather than waiting and ISSA to say I'm going to start it at one, so we'll start it at those levels.
Yeah, man. That is a point that is taken. But on the flip side of it, another coach will say that, I mean, you're preparing unless that athlete you have the amount of persons and you're just utilizing that athlete to keep their feet wet in that event. You probably use them in that event if these organizers actually use it as a part of the D meets. So it can really be looked at both ways. But what you're saying, it is duly understood, because once all the meets start to introduce it, then the organizers of ISSA probably would say, hey, there it is.
More inclined to
Right. I get what you're saying. But for me, if champs is a part of development and a plethora of our stars have come from champs, I think we can be some sort of innovative in start out early to put in that event so that we can compete,
you know the difference between the class 3 record of 400 and the class 1 record?
Probably about 2 seconds.
No, man. Check if the class 3 record is probably as big as the class 1 record. Class 1 record, and if it starts significantly. I put it this way: people like Anisha McCracken probably run past that class 3 than she did in class 1.
Yeah, that is correct. But the class 1 record is 51-1.
And what is the class 3 record?
I don't recall the class.
I don't know enough. I don't know, but the point I wanted to make was that a number of these events. So you talk about the 400, right? And we talk about the situation with boys and them not participating in class 4. Right? One of the concerns we have, right, is that first of all, for the most part, most people would agree that the CHAMPS program has worked well for Jamaica, and the students involved in CHAMPS, the development process has really been significantly enhanced by CHAMPS. But when you do an analysis of what happens and the quote unquote workload and the people who come through from class 3 or right up to class 1, there is always concern that there are too many in quite a few instances. The ones who last and go beyond are the ones who never started out with a bang in the younger classes. And therefore, one of the concerns that we have is that would us getting these students more involved at an earlier age, would that actually help or hinder the progress of these athletes? Because the truth is that CHAMPS is seen as a point gathering activity, and much of what is done to prepare these students focuses more on points than development. And so if we start with these kids, burdening them with the responsibility of trying to get the 40 or 50 points that is available in class 4 for boys, or adding some more points in class 3 for girls, class 4 for girls, would that be something that is helpful or hindering? That is a question that we have to answer
Yeah, that
before we take.
and that is a fair question. But I mean, I guess there are probably studies out there that can tell you what happened in terms of the training years or the training age of the athlete. How they would have matriculated to the junior level or the senior level. I
Right.
mean, it for me it's all about mental fatigue rather than physical fatigue. So that in itself can be debatable.
Yeah, but mental fatigue is just as significant as physical,
No, the
That's,
mental is greater than the physical.
right, right,
Right.
right.
So
I remember.
I'm making mention of the whole fact that it might be more of a physical the body goes through physical rather than the mental, because many of the athletes who compete here at champs, when they go overseas, their minds would have been tough already, mentally prepared to take on whatever other competition. A few of them would have spoken about going into NCAA, that it is quite easy for them because they would have been in this atmosphere, this tough, rigid atmosphere already. Some would have moved past that and gone to the Olympic World Championship games. So, I mean, it might not be a deterrent if it doesn't affect them mentally burnout, if wanting of a better term in that particular sentence. So it can be tried, man. It can be tried. Like I said, if it is something that is implemented, you will put, of course, caveat and restriction on these students, that they might be able to only compete in one event, not even a relay, like I said before. So it is something that ISSA can. I'm not too certain about the boys class 4, but I'm really interested in, since the girls have class 4 already. If there could be an introduction of the 400 in class 4, so it is something to consider.
As I said, it's something that has been used before, so well, it has been that thought has been expressed before, so
Mm-hmm.
let us take it go.
All right, there are a lot more arguments that I are questions that I could throw to your president, but I know that the situation that you're in now, you might be on the mental side of the tiredness, and you need that mental power to concentrate on your journey. So I definitely would like to invite you back if any other thing comes up, so we can even go through some more of the questions that persons would want to be answered. You know what I mean? But I appreciate you being here. But any final thoughts that you want to share with the audience?
Well, just in terms of the questions and the concerns raised with the quota system, I just want to reiterate the fact that we have absolutely no problem with foreign nationals participating in our competitions. It's a matter of fact, this is something that has gone on for a long time, maybe from as far as visa is coming. We have always had foreign nationals and we welcome them.
Mm-hmm.
However, we owe it to our schools, our membership, to ensure that the competition that we organize provide a fair opportunity for each student to compete. And our major objective with this quota system is to restrict the opportunity that exists for the mass introduction of students at the senior level coming in for competition.
All right. Again, Sir President, Sir Keith Wellington, thank you very much for joining us here on the coach's desk. Really appreciate you coming on this platform to shed light on the limit on foreign athletes in ISSA run competition. So I want persons to understand that it's not only for champs, it's all the competitions that are organized by ISSA. All right. So thank you again, sir, and safe journey. And we hope that you will arrive safely as well. Yeah, man. Listen. All right, people. So there you have it. Sir Keith Wellington. I think you'd have answered most of the question. Um and why I cut him off, people, or not cut him off, why I try to let him go, it is as a result of he's just leaving a meeting and he's heading all the way to to I figure St. Elizabeth. So I mean, we still have to be mindful to our guests, you understand? But I appreciate you coming on as well and throwing out some of the questions. So that we could, get some of these answers that we're looking forward to. Were you pleased with the answers? Trap boss. You like the questions? Boy, Rob Smith, me don't know what go on. He said no notification no go out. And the stream set from yesterday. You understand? Coach, you could have taught the man home, keep him away. No, me don't know if nobody else in the vehicle with him. You understand? A long time with up on the stream and wait. So we never want even bore the audience as well, because we see people are jump off of the stream as well. You understand? Now that me I say, hey YouTube, no notification no go out for the stream, man, and it's set from yesterday. YouTube, what go on? Coach this, what's the reason Sean Booker? No, I don't know why Sean Booker did not compete, I was looking for him too. I was looking for him and I did not see him competing. I don't know. I didn't ask, but I could find that out for you, Yeah, Penn Relays is going to be next week. I think it starts Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. 3 days of track and field actions. Relays. You understand? So, definitely, we will try as best as possible to give you some updates on that event as well. You understand? So, yeah, man, we'll give you updates as it goes. I don't think Sir Rob Smith. Yeah, man. So, what are your thoughts on how the president handled himself, people? You think he did justice to the question? Nobody couldn't tell me so the title of the thing never so wonderful. I want to help out the coach. I saw did stay. Rob Smith, USC, everything. Yam brain drain. All that missing up. No man, me not think me I go me not going on a pen. He act no like pen. Opal, big up yourself. Opal Miller. Me know you like keep your location unknown still. Very unknown, Rob Smith. You understand? Yeah, man, you have to keep it unknown sometime, because you don't know the pre sometime. Yeah, man, but definitely we'll be giving you updates on what is taking place at the Penn Relays. I think normally the boys would have been competing on the Saturday. I think the girls will be getting that privilege. I think they'll be competing Friday, Saturday. Boys will have to be competing Thursday, Friday. You understand? So the girls are getting it this time around. Yeah, man, I think that friendly was happening. We say it's 1-0, Mr. United. Mexico leading US. Hold on, let me go for the thing if you go upon this and one. Yeah, Mexico leading 1-0. Antuna scoring in 55th minute. That's an early preparation for what? Gold Cup? That not look bad. I say Penn's You know, the pens are really cold though, Judith. Nah, I don't think it cold, man. Mike Larry, big up yourself, you know. Keith and I go to all age. We live in one community. Which community that, Opal? Sitting out, sitting out a year does not help the athletes. I'm not in agreement. But you still can understand the logics behind it, though, MPEC. Will Edwin streak in 4x1? It might, if is Serena healthy? I de hard for beat, you know. I de like put that some of them class 2 people, well, probably years than them people that go drop on the team, you know. So you know that go. Southfield in St. Elizabeth. Okay. It might, Chuck here. It might. You understand? But let's see. And the button has to go around. And you have to hand over the button in the zone. So definitely they have that to basically encounter. So okay, see him. Put a cap on transfers and let them play immediately. So like what's the number you're thinking? What's the number you're thinking, MPEC, the cap? Because I mean, but you see, and I think that's what they're trying to eliminate, MPEC. In Jamaican's term, they're trying to run from. People just make the transfer and you're free to transfer. There's no restriction. So you just go any school you want to go and you do whatever you want to do. Suppose you decide to go 3 schools in a the period, in a 3 years. There's no limitation on you and no sit out. So it holds people in those institutions. I will be watching it on Flow Sport Coach. Okay. All right, Mike Larry. But MPEC, if everybody, all right, if coach transfer to MVP, I mean, no, say me transfer to MVP, me I go run right away. Something go on a MVP, me not like. Me I go move, go racers, and me I go run right away. And if me not like something go on a racers, me I go move, go to Titans. And if something not go on, so you go have an athlete that represent 4 school in a 4 year. That don't make no sense. US score back. Yeah, MPEC, but I mean, sit out a year or half year. There has to be a conditions though, man. There have to be conditions. Remember, it's not a professional sport, That is one of the thing that is on it. It is not a professional sport. It can affect legitimate transfer. Oh. Well, whether it is legitimate or not, you know that you have to sit out a year. So why not just let it stay at that so people can just, you know? So all right, people. I think we're gonna shut it down now, though. Yeah, man. We've been here almost 2 hours now. 4 minutes. Really appreciate you being here. Mm-hmm. So we got our answers to the questions. Let us see how things pan out from here. So thanks for joining, people. Big up on yourself. Really appreciate those who didn't get the notification. Blame YouTube. Those who have been here from it's showtime. Big up yourself. Ensure that you like the video before you leave. Like the video. Put a like on the video before you leave. Put a like on the video before you leave. Give it a thumbs up, people, so a lot more people can see and understand what is taking place. Yeah, man. Respect and manners. Judith Williamson, big up yourself. Opal, big up yourself. Thanks for joining. Empe, I don't know. Mr. United, Mike Larry, the erudite in the building. Chuck Era, big up yourself. Hold on there. Let me see. Oh, okay. Chuck Era is... Big up Chuck Era, CM Speed. Judith, Rob Smith, Mr. United, RR, Lanezra. Big up on yourself. Stay safe, people. Until next time. Peace out.
Your style and your flavor make the city rock. They must say the season come out with a bang. Coach Minzy, best round here. Remember that.